back, everybody, to our latest live stream. Hope everybody's doing well this evening. We do have some severe weather coverage in this live stream. That would include areas like Nebraska along with South Dakota tonight. And we've actually had some pretty decent storms up this direction. We've had several with large to potentially very large hail, along with some damaging winds. Our highest wind gust so far tonight was 75 miles per hour. So we've actually had a pretty active evening so far across the northern and central plains. I'm going to give you the latest forecast. I'm also going to go a little bit over the tropics later in this forecast, along with the severe weather potential for tomorrow and as well as Sunday, because we have two big events coming up that you might not already be mindful of, but they are going to be happening in the Midwest. So we do have to watch that pretty closely. So I'll give you a little bit of a forecast on that later on. Before we get too far into it, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe down below if you've not already. Let's begin with the first storms. These are the ones up in northern Nebraska as of right now. You can see there's one storm ongoing, producing some damaging wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour, a little bit of dime-sized hail. That's moving towards Ainsworth along with Long Pine, and eventually toward Bassett over the next several minutes. Again, that is moving off to the east. We have a strong storm currently ongoing down here to the south. This one's actually had a little bit of broad rotation. A lot of these storms have been rotating to at least a broad extent, but none of them have really strengthened. So as of right now, tornado potential does seem to be low tonight. I can't rule out an isolated brief or weak tornado, but as of right now, it seems like a very low chance at this given time. But you can clearly see this storm looks pretty impressive, producing some 55-mile-per-hour wind gusts along with some half-inch hail. That'll be moving towards Highway 183 within the next 30 minutes or so. Going back down here to the south, another strong storm. This is over near Stapleton. This one was actually originally producing up to hen egg-sized hail. In our report from a trained spotter in the area in McPherson County, Nebraska, over in Tryon, there was a quarter-sized hailstone report there. So we've actually had a little bit of hail reported with that storm. That storm's definitely not nearly as organized as before. Our worst storm that is currently ongoing right now is actually south of Interstate 80. This one is currently producing 60-mile-per-hour damaging wind gusts, and along with ping-pong ball-sized hail. Let me go and hop over to the hail radar and give you an idea of what we got going with this storm, because that's actually some pretty significant hail right now. And we've had estimates as high as hen egg so far tonight, which in terms of that, it's like limestone, so 2 inches in diameter. This storm, though, in the latest scan, showing pretty close to about ping pong ball sized hail or so. Definitely can't rule out slightly larger than that, but that'll be crossing over to 25 over the next couple of minutes, and it'll eventually continue to move off to the east. It looks like fairly rural regions here, but that's pretty close to North Platte. So those over in North Platte, anywhere along Interstate 80, definitely be mindful of that storm here tonight, because that's definitely a storm that is packing a punch in terms of hail. We do have another strong storm. This one was originally warned. It is now being, the severe thunderstorm warning actually got canceled, but this is for Grant, Madrid, as well as Esley for some, at least about nickel-sized hail, and as well as gusty winds around 55 miles per hour and nickel-sized hail. I think I switched that by accident, but that's what we got going as of right now in these areas. Are the reports that we've had from this storm that is currently producing potentially some ping-pong ball-sized hail, and also has a little bit of broad rotation, by the way, just to mention. But that storm has at least had reports up to $half-sized hail. So that was about an hour ago, but the storm looks pretty similar to what it was before. Let's go over to the velocities real quick. We'll take a look, and you can kind of see there's a little bit of rotation here on the front end. Again, it's pretty minimal. We're looking from one radar site. If we go down to the one that's down here to the south, and again, it's pretty far away from the radar site, but overall, the rotation is still in its broad stages. So we've seen a lot of broad rotation so far with a lot of these storms. This one definitely has a potential, though, maybe long-term to do something. Here's a look at our severe thunderstorm watch. By the way, we do actually have a severe thunderstorm watch ongoing. This would include areas like O'Neill, North Platte, along with Ord, not including Grand Island. I know we have some listeners there from Grand Island. You're not included, but you might see an isolated severe storm or two. Broken Bow, Lexington are also included in that severe thunderstorm watch. That goes until 1 a.m. tonight in Central Time. There's also ping pong ball sized hail and 70-mile-per-hour damaging wind gusts will be our two main concerns tonight. Again, can't rule out an isolated tornado potential, but it does seem to be pretty low at this time. We do also have a couple of wind gust reports from earlier. As I mentioned before, near St. Francis, we do have a 60-mile-per-hour wind gust report and 75 miles per hour at Rosebud at 6:30. So only an hour and a half ago, we had some fairly significant wind gusts over this direction. So something to keep in mind there. We've actually had some pretty high winds. One more severe thunderstorm warning that's ongoing. This is east of Rapid City, just to the east of New Underwood. This is producing 60-mile-per-hour winds. This cell has been falling apart here for a while, so I do not expect it to really do much at this point, but it's going to be something to watch as well. Have a whole cluster of storms ongoing just north of Rapid City, too, so those in South Dakota getting some rain tonight, but obviously we've seen a lot of rain actually out of these storms tonight, and we've seen as much as 2 to 3 inches of rain in some isolated locations. Again, it is a fairly disorganized line and complex of storms, but as that continues to push off to the the east, we again may see some damaging winds between 60 to 70 miles per hour, and maybe some hail up to the size of ping pong balls. I can't rule out a slightly higher amount of hail. And again, this storm right now is our most severe storm that's just south of Platte, or North Platte, that is again producing the potential for some ping pong ball sized hail. So definitely be something to watch here over the next several minutes. And again, this live stream will probably go for an hour or two. We'll see what happens. Again, we got some severe weather ongoing. Can't rule out an isolated tornado, as I mentioned before, so we'll keep an eye on that here over the next several minutes. And I'm going to see if we have any footage coming in on Twitter real quick, and see if we have any photos. Again, we do have a damage report from earlier back near Big Springs, which is on like the county line there over near Nebraska, or in western Nebraska, excuse me. Big Springs actually had a report of a shop destroyed from high winds. So that's just something to keep in mind. We've actually had some pretty high winds, it seems like, and at least some damage has been dealt. And apparently a shop was completely destroyed there over in Big Springs, Nebraska. And that is basically on the county, but it's basically on the border there of Colorado and as well as Nebraska. So obviously we've actually seen some damage tonight, so that's just something to keep in mind, and I'll definitely see if we have any photos of that, but as of right now I haven't seen anything quite yet. Let me take a look real quick, and we will take a look, and I'm not seeing anything as of right now, but we'll keep you posted if we have anything. By the way, going into tomorrow, I'm going to give this little spiel real quick, and then we'll go a bit more into detail later, but we do have a slight risk for severe weather tomorrow that would include areas in Iowa along with Minnesota, so I most likely will be live tomorrow night for the severe weather. Damaging winds, large hail, and a couple of tornadoes will be possible. Our tornado threat does increase a bit more going into tomorrow, especially in Iowa. Our Iowa is probably going to be the better chance for maybe a couple of tornadoes, maybe an isolated one back up there in Minnesota. There's also a marginal threat that goes back down into Kansas. There is another slight risk going to Sunday that extends down into Iowa, western Illinois, that's west of Chicago, near Cedar Rapids. That will be another potential for damaging winds, maybe some large to very large hail, and again, maybe an isolated tornado potential may exist in that area as well. Again, I might be live again on Sunday, so stay tuned. We'll keep you updated. It's going to be a pretty active weekend, actually, so today's really just the beginning of what we're probably going to see here over the next pretty much 72 hours. So it's definitely gonna be a pretty active pattern that we're gonna be seeing, again, with potential for some severe weather, along with obviously tropical storm Fiona, which is also another thing to watch out for those really along the East Coast. Might be something to watch over the next several days. Let me get some chat and whatnot. Hey, Ethan, how you doing? As well, Small Exploration, how you doing? Welcome back. How you doing, David? Welcome. Or Daniel, excuse me. Welcome. Hey, Connie, how you doing? Welcome back. James, how you doing? Bro, Clocks, welcome back. Hey, Shelly, how you doing? Welcome back. It seems to have a horseshoe. Are you talking about the one back up here? This storm's kind of an interesting shape. You know, you kind of see there actually is a little small inflow going into the storm there near 7. It's not overly impressive. Again, there was a little bit of broad rotation on this one. Let's go back over to the velocities. And yeah, you kind of see more of anything. It's just wind. And let's go and take a look at the estimates here. Actually pretty close to 55. So yeah, we're definitely seeing some strong winds here near 7, but it's definitely not to the severe level as what we've been kind of accustomed to back in August and as well as July. So definitely a storm to watch, though. Again, a little bit of a weird shape there. A couple of strong storms. Again, we have one severe thunderstorm warning near Answorth, but again, that is only for a little bit of damaging winds up to 60. It does seem like that storm is weakening a bit. This is our more concerning storm. Again, maybe some ping pong ball sized hail with this storm, so it'll be something to watch for. Hey, Frankie, how you doing? Welcome back. What are you stressed about, Theodore? I've been stressed about schoolwork. Thank you, Corey, for the report over in St. Petersburg. Which state are we talking about? A lot of St. Petersburgs. Would Freeport, Illinois be in that tomorrow? I don't think Freeport, Illinois is in that. I'll go ahead and double check, but by the way, this warning has been updated. It is still ongoing for Lincoln County, Nebraska for 60-mile-per-hour winds, ping pong ball sized hail. That threat has not changed. We do have a brand new severe thunderstorm warning that has actually just been issued behind this one for quarter-sized hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds. That goes for Grant, Madrid, along with Esley. Those are the 3 main areas included. Again, right along that 23 stretch. Our hail core is currently located right back up in here. So, little thing to monitor there. Again, a little bit of quarter-sized hail right now moving off to the east. And the latest scan really blown up. It's kind of showing a bit more of an elongated potential hail threat there. Again, another thing to keep in mind here is that we might see a little bit of quarter-sized hail. Our largest hail that has been Actually, we have another warning that has just been issued. This is for a potential, at least damaging winds up to 60 quarter-sized hail. There's also a tornado possible on this, so we are now up to a tornado possible on this one. And I was just mentioning this a second ago. There was a little bit of rotation, definitely some damaging winds here, and there's your rotation. So again, we do have now a tornado possible on this. Again, if you're anywhere near 7 going off to the east, this is going to be including areas in Brown and Rock County, Nebraska, going off to the east towards 183. That will be in the track here pretty soon. Again, we definitely have some pretty strong damaging winds here where it seems like there's trying to be a little bit of rotation here, but overall, again, you do have a very strong damaging winds. That's up to 60 miles per hour right now, moving over near 7. That'll again continue to track out to the east. Seems like a pretty rural area, but definitely a pretty interesting storm to watch here. And you can clearly see there's your nice little inflow here. So definitely a storm to watch for very closely. And again, maybe a little bit of hail as well along with that, but definitely something to monitor. If you're anywhere near 7 or Highway 183 moving off to the east, make sure that you're starting to get to your safe place just in case this does end up producing something. But again, there is now a tornado possible on this. This is north of Brewster and south of Ainsworth, by the way. So again, brand new severe thunderstorm warning here. Definitely gonna be something to watch for here over the next several minutes. And let me go and double check how many warnings we're up to real quick. And we're currently at 5. Let me go and change that back down to 5. There we go. All right, so definitely another storm to watch for very closely. Again, a little tornado possible here. We do have a little bit of rotation, so I'll have to watch this one closely. Back over to here. And let me go and change this back over to the base velocity. So yeah, there you go. That's kind of a nice look at this point. Again, there's a little bit of rotation. It's definitely broad right now, but it will be something to watch as this continues again to track out to the east. And it's slow moving, so that's definitely not a good sign there, but this will be something to watch. Again, we do have a little bit of rotation there. Again, near 7, moving off to the east. Again, north of Brewster is where we're at as of right now. So definitely watch for this storm fairly closely. All right, let me get back to chat here. For Hastings, Nebraska, isn't that like southeast Nebraska or along Interstate 80? If you're not in the severe thunderstorm watch, you probably won't see much tonight. My main concern is damaging winds elsewhere outside of the watch, but I do think that threat is pretty low tonight. Hey, Cinderella, how you doing? Welcome. Looks like a mermaid. Actually kind of does. Yeah, this is a very oddly shaped storm, to be honest with you. And I typically don't, see these kind of shapes with storms like this. And it's kind of all the same cell here. And again, we have pretty decent hail core here. We have a couple of them embedded here near 7. And again, we have that rotation that's ongoing in here. That obviously could produce a low-end tornado potential as this moves off to the east. So it's definitely something to watch as that continues to track out to the east. Definitely an interesting shape, though, to say the least. Hey, Rebecca, how you doing? Welcome back. By the way, to get back to your comment, a scud cloud is a rough-shaped cloud. I saw your comment. I just didn't get back to it. I was busy. But yeah, I saw your comment on my notifications. Yeah, typically scud clouds kind of look like tornado, or at least funnel clouds, I mean, but typically they're not. They're just like non-rotating rough clouds. Those are pretty typical, especially with a lot of thunderstorms. You'll see scud clouds a lot, and a lot of people get them confused. Now, what we saw yesterday, and you may have seen, by the way, on my TikTok or on YouTube, there was a funnel cloud. I'm not entirely sure. I don't think it's been confirmed or denied yet, but there was a funnel cloud in Walt Disney World yesterday. And it kind of went a little bit viral, so I ended up posting it to TikTok and I think it was YouTube as well. And yeah, a lot of people were like, is this actually a funnel cloud or was it a scud cloud? I personally think it was a scud cloud, but I can't confirm it either way. The National Weather Service actually even mentioned that it's kind of like they don't even know because the video is just not long enough and it's pretty poor quality. I mean, it's kind of shaking all over the place, so it's kind of hard to see if it's actually rotating or not. But yeah, so just kind of a little explanation there. It's kind of interesting. Hey, Chef, how you doing? Welcome. Next Tuesday or Wednesday, severe weather outlook. Tuesday, Wednesday, I'm not sure. I don't think we'll see a whole lot next week. There might be some low-end potentials, but I think the big concern right now is probably going to be this weekend. I mean, honestly, going into tomorrow and Sunday, those are big days, I think, for severe weather. Without a doubt. I really do. I think tomorrow is going to be our bigger day. We're going to probably have a few tornadoes tomorrow. Shear is out. The low-level jets can be increasing tomorrow, possibly up to 40 to 45 knots. That's going to potentially produce that tornado potential, especially back over in Iowa, along with maybe even Minnesota. Anywhere in that Midwest region may see a little bit of that potential for some severe weather. Again, damaging winds and large hail are the main concerns. But we also might see an isolated tornado or two. So something to watch for tomorrow. I might make a forecast on that tomorrow morning. I probably will be live for sure tomorrow, I think. So Stay tuned. By the way, new update just on the velocities on this storm. The rotation is kind of still broad here. We're not seeing really nearly as tight as what just was a moment ago, but the winds are right around 60 miles per hour, so we're definitely still seeing some damaging winds here, and this is a ferocious storm. I mean, we're still seeing a pretty decent hail core, at least at the bare minimum. It does seem like it's a little bit less organized, but it does, again, still have that tornado possible label on it, which means that we very well may see a tornado at any time, so it'll be something to watch as that, again, continues to move off to the east. Again, that is for Brown County and as well as Rock County, Nebraska. So, it's an update there. Hey, Runway, how you doing? Welcome back. Hey, Tornado, how you doing? Welcome. I haven't seen some of you guys for a while. Hey, Phil, how you doing? Don't say that. Minnesota's been in the rough the last month. Last month was pretty rough. Or, yeah, last month, like the tail end of last month was pretty bad, what we saw. Looked like a funnel. Yeah, it's hard to tell. Again, we didn't have a whole lot of videos on that, so I still think it was a scud, but again, it's kind of hard to really determine that. To change in the stream? What do you mean by that, obscene? Hey, Ellie, how you doing? Welcome back. Dobbs, how you doing? Welcome back. Hey, JD, welcome back. How you guys all doing? On your drive home, there you go. It's been pretty interesting so far. Again, no new updates on any of the other warnings. Again, still an ongoing storm down here for ping pong ball sized hail. This hail course really intensified back down near Madrid, by the way. Definitely see here a pretty decent amount of hail there near Madrid, and that's northwest of Esley. But other than that, that's a pretty decent looking storm. It's definitely increased. I wouldn't rule out that storm gets upgraded to $half sized hail. This is a look at the hail radar as of right now. This is going to show the last hour, so it does show a little bit from earlier, but if we look at right now, it's probably around $half sized hail. This is the most recent scan there, so, but from earlier, it was around hen egg sized hail on this storm that's now over near 25, so just kind of clear up that little confusion there, but you can kind of see, again, the one near 25 is right around $half sized hail. It looks like now both of these storms are probably right around that mark, so we're definitely seeing a little bit of a weakening trend in this storm. It looks to be intensifying, though, right behind it with this other supercell that we have here near Madrid, as well as Elsley. Northeast of Grant, so definitely a storm to watch for very closely. Again, that is an intensifying storm. It is actually strengthening a little bit as that continues to move off to the east. Again, severe thunderstorm watch does go until 1 a.m. tonight for those in a large portion of Nebraska. Covers about 100,000 people. O'Neill, Ord are the main towns included. North Platte also included. Grand Island is not included. Hastings also not included, but you might see some isolated damaging winds tonight. Again, this was the storm that did have the tornado possible on it. I am not sure if it's really done a whole lot. Actually, yeah, it's still there. It's broad rotation, but it's still trying to rotate there. So this is definitely something to watch for. Again, these are winds going toward the radar, away from the radar. So again, a counterclockwise spin, definitely what we're looking at here. But again, it seems to be kind of on the weekend as of right now, but watch it closely. Again, a lot of rain, by the way, very heavy rain. So if you know anybody traveling along roads here in Nebraska, just make sure they're aware of this, because there's actually a lot of heavy rain with these storms, especially the ones here along 7. That is a brutal amount of wind right there. Tremendous no classes tomorrow. I have a lot of homework to still do, though. Hey, Cameron, how you doing? Welcome back. Yeah, Scott, I don't know. I mean, even the National Weather Service of Melbourne said it was a potential funnel cloud. It's really hard to tell. Regardless, I mean, does it really matter? Maybe a little bit for maybe, history or whatever, but overall, it's really hard to tell there. I still think it was a scud cloud. Frost advisories for parts of Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine. Actually, I think I mentioned it at the tail end of my forecast yesterday that the temperatures were going to drop down into the low to mid 30s. I may have cut that part out, though. I can't remember, but yeah, it's going to be cold up there. So, first frost advisories of the year for New England, I believe, or at least the season. We're at the tail end of summer. Why do you think the computer models are having issues determining Fiona's future direction? That's actually a great question, and that actually is a really good question. So I didn't answer that in today's forecast, and I try to keep my forecast around 6 minutes, so I typically don't try to go over that. But the main reason why is because of how much shear is involved with the system, the dry air, and along with if it interacts with land, a lot of things can change. So there's a lot of uncertainty. Now, over the last 24 hours, I think I can actually bring this up on here. I'm going to pull this up real quick. Do this, and let's put on the spaghetti models, if you will. Over the last 24 hours, they have become more unified. You can see here's the lines. These are all representing different computer models. They are a bit more unison on bringing this out to sea. However, there is still a potential that this does go in this kind of direction and it might impact the East Coast. So it's going to be still something to watch for very closely. As of right now, it is a category. It's expected to be a Category 1 hurricane once it goes through the Bahamas, and also near Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic. Potential for extreme flooding exists here. So we'll have to watch this again pretty closely. I'll keep you updated. I probably won't touch on that in tomorrow's forecast unless there's a big change. Otherwise, I will have a big forecast on it, possibly Sunday or Monday. But yeah. See you later, Clucks. Hey, DA, by the way, for subscribing. I appreciate it. Send me a message on Discord. Let me know if you get it. Thanks, Slippy. Yeah, I saw the picture. I actually have video. I don't know if I can bring it up. I can bring it up, but yeah, there's actually frost advisories. Heads up, by the way. Frost advisories for northern and western Maine into northern New England. Basically, like northeastern Vermont and northern portions of New Hampshire. First frost advisories, I think, of the season. Let me go over to Twitter. I do have a video that I can show of this, by the way. Just make sure I find it. All right, so here's the video. This is from Joey. So yeah, you can see this is the funnel cloud. I'll kind of pause it here. This is the funnel cloud that people are thinking it might be a funnel. Again, it's kind of hard to tell in this scenario. Again, we're pausing it at one frame. It very well could be either a scud or a funnel cloud. It's, again, very difficult to tell. You can kind of see it looks a bit more smooth there in the middle, which might indicate it's a funnel cloud. But even if you go through motion, it's hard to tell if it's really rotating. And apparently a minute or two later, it disappeared. So it's hard to tell. Again, I would basically, I can't really confirm to you either way. Usually I'm pretty good with, figuring out if it's actual funnel cloud or not. But in this scenario, it's really up for grabs. So, but that was in Walt Disney World yesterday. If you didn't see my TikTok, you can click actually the link that's pinged in the chat. You can go watch it. I did a little voiceover on it. So, hey, Teresa, thank you. I appreciate it. Sorry, I missed your message earlier. I don't know what it was, but. By the way, if you're just tuning in, hit the like button. We're 36 likes from 100. There's over 200 of you here. Make sure to hit the like button. Would appreciate it. I'm sure. Yeah, that video went really, it kind of went viral because, again, nobody really knows if it was an actual funnel cloud. What really annoyed me was one Disney blog posted yesterday and said there was a tornado formed near Disney. I was like, that's not a tornado. I mean, gracious. All right. Well, back to the storms real quick. I know a lot of you guys are wondering where we're at. As of right now, again, we're in Nebraska with most of the severe weather ongoing. Again, we do have an ongoing storm here. This is the one up near 7 north of Brewster that has, again, an ongoing tornado possible on it. This is, again, a storm that has had some rotation. It seems to be a little bit broader than before. It will, again, be something to monitor as this moves off to the east. Next area and track of this storm will be Highway 183. Let me actually go and put a track on this. I do have my tracking device back, so let's go and put a little track on here and give you an idea of where this is going to be heading over the next several minutes. Let me go back over the live radar. Yeah, again, a little bit of rotation in there. It's going to be something to watch for here over the next little while. Let's go ahead and do this and put a track on it. See who's in the track. Chambers will be hit by the storm around 10 o'clock. O'Neill, which is a bit more populated, right around 10:07. And in Inman, right around 10:19 is your forecasted timing. The other severe thunderstorm warning back up near Bassett is likely not to be continuing, by the way. That warning does not seem like it will continue. Just an FYI for those in that area. Let's go a bit further down to the south, back near North Platte, because I know more people live down here than anything. Anywhere along Interstate 80 is typically a pretty populated area. Let me go make sure I got the right speed on here. So about 25 to 30 miles per hour. This will be a little track for you. This, again, storm is basically moving due east as of right now. Timing on this one will be Maxwell around 9:14, Brady 9:32, and Gothenburg 9:58. The other storm that is warned for quarter-sized tail and 60-mile-per-hour winds, which will also likely continue as long as it maintains its strength, is starting to speed up a bit, so we might see this kind of intersect the one storm in front of it. Here's a look at the timing for you. So Paxton, right around 8:30. Wallace, 8:44. Sutherland, right around 8:48. Hershey, 8:58. North Platte, 9:17. So if you're in North Platte, you will likely see a secondary storm ahead of the other one, right around 9:15, 9:20. Eventually, Wellfleet, 9:19. Maxwell, 9:35. Brady, 9:46. Gothenburg, 10:03. And Cozad, 10:16. Again, that is your timing. And this storm, by the way, has been pretty impressive here. I mean, we're talking pretty decent hail here near Elsley. And again, northeast of Madrid, we've definitely had a pretty decent hail core here. I'm not sure if this other warning is going to continue. I would assume it will, because it does still seem like we at least have some quarter-sized hail here, but we'll have to wait and see. Again, the new warning should come out here momentarily if there will be a new one on this cell, but that cell's been, again, pretty impressive for a while. This one was originally warned for ping pong ball sized hail, and actually still is. So we'll see if we get a new warning, and I believe we do. So no, we have an update on a warning, and that was this one. So this warning's been updated again for quarter sized hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds. Got a pretty decent hail core, as I mentioned before, here near Elsley. Moving off again to the east as of right now. Deadlock, we're currently in Nebraska. Hurricane hunters out there, I do not know, Theodore. I would assume there will be. I think they've been going out about every day, so I would say they probably will be. Anything happening in Oklahoma in the next week? It's going to be pretty hot. That's about it. Really anywhere in the southern plains, there's going to be a high pressure ridge dominating the region probably for the next week or so. So I would assume that we're going to probably see a fairly dry pattern. I don't think there's going to be much of anything. Unfortunately, there in Oklahoma, it's going to be pretty dry and probably boring for those in Oklahoma. Again, we typically see more storm activity this time of the year, and we're not really seeing that. Back onto the storm near 7 and going towards Highway 183. Again, this is the storm that has a tornado possible label. I would assume this might get taken off. We'll see, though. The overall storm does not have the inflow it did have before. We do have a pretty large wind field, though. That's, again, between 55 to 60-mile-per-hour winds there. So anybody driving along the roadways near 183, just be mindful of that. Definitely some gusty winds. If there's any truck drivers, just a little heads up for those traveling along 183, again, in between Brewster or in between Bassett as well as Burwell, kind of in that area. Again, if you're a truck driver in this area, anyone specifically, along 183, again, there's a little storm that might be producing some 60-mile-per-hour winds. That wind area will probably reach that area, I would say, in about 15 minutes or so. Again, but the overall rotation is definitely not nearly as strong as before. It will still be monitored closely, but I do think this storm is beginning to fall apart a little bit, which is good news. We do have a brand new severe thunderstorm warning. This actually does include North Platte for 60-mile-per-hour damaging winds and quarter-sized hail. So those in North Platte, just a heads up here. Again, brand new severe thunderstorm warning for Lincoln County, Nebraska. Again, quarter-sized hail, 60-mile-per-hour winds. Definitely a storm to watch out for very closely. And again, this one does not seem to be rotating to any extent right now, but definitely some hail coming that direction. So, and they'll be going towards Interstate 80 over the next several minutes. So, it seems like most of the warnings are beginning to dwindle down in hailstone size, which is good news. But again, North Platte, be on alert. Little storm coming up your direction. And if you're in North Platte, by the way, you will likely see this storm around 8:50 or 8:55. So, that is, again, the supercell that is moving up your direction. Quarter-sized hail, 60-mile-per-hour winds. Hershey, Maxwell, Sutherland, Reservoir State Recreational Area, as well as Lake Maloney, all included again, as well as the North Platte Airport. Actually, let me go and take a look at the METAR data real quick. I'll pull that up and see what we're currently looking at in terms of maybe the winds here at the airport. I would assume we have METAR data at the airport. Yeah, so 22 miles per hour was the latest wind gust at 6:53. That was actually 2 hours ago, so we do not have an updated airport reading here as of now. We do have a new wind gust report, by the way, on the other storm that is pretty far south of Interstate 80. That's southwest of North Platte near Grant and Elsley. It's a 65-mile-per-hour wind gust, so that's our second highest wind gust that's been confirmed of the day. Our highest one was 75 miles per hour back up in South Dakota, so just kind of a little heads up there. That was over in Perkins County, Nebraska, near 61. So just another update there. And this storm, by the way, has been pretty vicious as well. Definitely some quarter-sized hail and a lot of heavy rain there heading towards 23, and as well as 25 going towards Wallace potentially. So this will be another cell to watch for as that continues to track out to the east. And this radar, by the way, is uploading or updating every about minute or two. So definitely updating pretty often. All right, let me get back to chat here. Hey, Derpy, how you doing? Welcome back. How you doing, Paula? From Barnesdale, Oklahoma. Nice. Or Barnsdall. I think I mispronounced that. Is Fiona going to hit the coastal Georgia? Most likely, I highly doubt that. Check out my latest forecast from today. That forecast has literally all the details, but I highly doubt it's going to go towards... again, the chances are low. I highly doubt it, but never know. The system, honestly, with Fiona is kind of crazy, to say the least. We've seen a lot of different, I mean, the forecast models have just, again, been all over the place. They have become more refined, though, since this morning. A lot of them are pushing this now off, basically away from the coast of the United States. With that being said, we will still see swells along the coastlines if that scenario were to happen, which could actually be pretty significant due to the fact that might become a Category 3, 4, or even maybe a Category 5 hurricane out in sea. So it will be something to watch if it goes in that direction. Now, if it goes closer to the United States, it will likely be a Category 1 to maybe 2 hurricane. That's kind of what I'm thinking at this point. If it's closer to the United States. Now, if it takes a direct west path, which I don't think will happen because the Bermuda High is going to probably stay off to the northeast. But if it were to take that direct west path along the Greater Antilles, it will be a tropical storm or less. So that's my thinking as of right now. Hey, how you doing? Welcome back. How you doing from Wisconsin? Nice. There's a chance for severe weather in Wisconsin, by the way. For those that are just tuning in, I do want to bring this up one more time. I'll probably bring it up a couple more times later, but again, for tomorrow, there is a slight risk of severe weather back in Iowa, along with areas in Minnesota, near Minneapolis, Cedar Rapids, Omaha, kind of just off to the east of Omaha. Damaging winds, large to maybe even a little bit of very large hail, and a couple of tornadoes may occur. Tomorrow will be a day to watch. I think tomorrow is going to be our most active severe weather day this weekend. We have another chance for severe weather going into Sunday, mostly damaging winds coming out of this system that will be going through areas like Iowa, Illinois, again, southern Wisconsin, northern Missouri, along with actually a large portion of Illinois is included in that, like Springfield, Chicago, Milwaukee, as well as Des Moines, as well as Kansas City. Damaging winds, large hail, a couple of tornadoes again will be possible, but I do think the damaging wind potential is highest on Sunday. Saturday seems to be a bit more of a hail potential across those regions, along with maybe a couple of tornadoes. So again, tomorrow is another day to watch. Again, hit the subscribe button down below. We'll keep you updated with the latest. I probably will go live tomorrow, so I'll keep you updated with the latest tomorrow, but definitely a couple of days to watch over the next 48 to 72 hours. We'll be pretty active across the northern plains and as well as the Midwest, so it'll be active for sure. But again, turn on post notifications, by the way. I know a lot of you haven't hit the bell icon. Make sure to hit the bell icon so you're notified when I go live, so you get the latest coverage on that. Again, I will be live most likely tomorrow and most likely Sunday as well, so I'll be covering both days here on our YouTube channel. But yeah, tomorrow will be an interesting day to say the least. Again, hail, wind, couple of tornadoes, the main threats tomorrow. We might actually get an increased tornado potential, by the way. It might get increased to 5%. It's a possibility, but it might get increased there in Iowa, so something to watch. Time is the weather or what time for the weather tomorrow? I actually didn't make a forecast on that today, so let me tell you real quick. I thought I did. I had to cut out that scene too. Again, all my forecasts for the most part are about 5 to 6 minutes. I try to keep them around that time frame. I was going to include severe weather at the tail end, but I wasn't really able to. We do have a new warning real quick for those in Wallace for 60-mile-per-hour winds, quarter-sized hail. That is radar indicated, but obviously a potential here for Wallace, Dickens, Grainton, as well as Marengo, and Somerset included again for damaging winds up to 60. Along with maybe a little bit of quarter-sized hail. This warning goes until 9:15 Eastern Time. Timing for tomorrow will likely be around the afternoon hours. Now, probably like late afternoon, evening hours. So if you're like Des Moines, for example, expect storms around between 7 to 10 o'clock. Not everybody will see them, but that'll be kind of your time frame for Iowa. Back up in Minnesota is going to be around the evening hours, so probably between 5 to about 10 o'clock will be the timing that will at least begin at. So tomorrow again will be interesting, and we actually might get upgraded. If we don't get upgraded to an enhanced risk, we'll probably be on a slight risk, but we will probably see the tornado probabilities increase for tomorrow. So just keep that in mind. Again, if you're in the Midwest, for those in Minnesota, Iowa, be on alert tomorrow. Again, that severe weather potential will shift over to areas like Wisconsin and Illinois going into Sunday. So it'll be something to still watch for very closely. Damaging winds, again, more concerning feature on Sunday. So if you're like Chicago, Milwaukee, main concern on Sunday will be damaging winds. But if you're tomorrow, damaging winds, large hail, and again, a few tornadoes may occur. Let me take a look at the tornado parameter values real quick. I'm not sure if they've gone up yet. Tornado parameter doesn't tell you everything, but yeah, the tornado parameter values tomorrow are between 1 to 2, so that typically means we at least have at least a 2% probability by the Storm Prediction Center. If not, we might get upgraded to a 5% probability in a couple of those areas. Again, Minnesota, the central areas, and as well as central Iowa are the main areas in the inclusion of that. Thank you, by the way, Nick, as well as Barrio, for subscribing. I appreciate it. How you doing, Adam? Or Admin, welcome back. Theodore, I'm not sure, but I would assume so much. They typically go out a couple times a day, especially for that system. They will definitely be going out tomorrow. We do have a new special weather statement, by the way, back up near Bassett, as well as Atkinson, Napier, as well as Spencer. Spencer's kind of on the cusp of that. Newport as well, near 11, included for 55-mile-per-hour wind gusts and a little bit of half-inch sized hail. The storm that had a tornado possible on it, let's go and take a look real quick and see if there's anything too crazy. Again, it's just not overly impressive. We have a little bit of rotation here. Let me go and kind of circle it here, just kind of give you a reference on radar. And yeah, it's kind of wrapped in rain. Again, does not seem to be overly organized. For right now, I'm going to take that tornado possible off, even though it's on the warning. I'll go ahead and take that off for now, just so the confusion kind of gets out of there. But yeah, as of right now, that storm definitely on the weakening trend. It was more organized at the beginning, which is hence why there was a tornado possible on that. Was actually because of the fact we may have actually had a potential for a tornado at one point. But again, back over near North Platte, for those in North Platte and Hershey, again, the potential for 60-mile-per-hour winds and quarter-sized hail is coming your way. Again, this storm is making a direct beeline towards North Platte. Again, this cell has had a history of producing up to half-dollar sized hail, so it will be something to watch as that, again, continues to march out to the northeast. So, watching that pretty closely. Hey, Grace, how you doing? From New Hampshire. Are you in the frost advisories tonight in New Hampshire? Or are you in a different part of New Hampshire? If you're in northern New Hampshire tonight, there's actually frost advisories. Thank you, Eric, by the way, for subscribing. I appreciate it. Yeah, if you're just tuning in for the first time, hit the like button and subscribe. Again, we're going to keep you updated with the latest on the severe weather for tonight. Again, tomorrow is probably going to be a big day across the Midwest, and as well as going into Sunday. We have pretty much 3 days ahead of pretty active severe weather. We might have severe weather on Monday, but I will likely not be going live because I am going to have a very busy studying night for tests on Tuesday. So, heads up on that. Are there elevation considerations for northern New Hampshire frost advisories? Yeah, typically dark, yes. Like Mount Washington, for example, they had, I think, freezing fog this morning in northern, like the peak of Mount Washington. I'm pretty sure they had that this morning. But yeah, elevation is definitely a big key. But even in northern New Hampshire areas where there's not elevation, there may even still be a little bit of frost. But frost advisory is typically going to be for those higher elevation areas in New Hampshire. So I do have experience with New Hampshire because I used to live there. Thanks, Kimberly. Let's hope that helps. It's going to be a painful calculus test. That's all I got to say. White Mountains, yeah, exactly. Latest update, by the way, on the storm. We are starting to see, it looks like maybe a little bit of a dwindle in the hail course, so it might be going down to nickel size now and heading toward North Platte. Let's go back over the hail radar and take a look real quick and see. So this is from a couple of scans ago. You can kind of see the hail core was around half-dollar size, so it might be around quarter or nickel-sized hail. Again, that is tracking out towards Interstate 80 and as well as North Platte. So again, truck drivers, be safe. If you're traveling along Interstate 80, in between Sutherland and as well as North Platte, and even in between Maxwell, actually, just make sure you're staying safe on the roadways there. Definitely a bigger threat for hail, I would say. Damaging winds do seem to be dwindling on this storm overall. Let's go and take a quick look at the velocities. And yeah, I'm definitely not seeing nearly as much in terms of the velocities on this storm again near North Platte in terms of damaging winds, but definitely a pretty good chance that we do see a little bit of hail going towards, again, the interstate. The other storm down near 25, again, for those that are driving out on the roadways, we do have a pretty big threat for quarter-sized hail, at least on this storm. Again, your hail core is about to cross over 25 near Wallace. And here's a look again at the velocities as of right now, and we're going to take a look at that. So the velocities are right about 40 to 45 miles per hour. Again, it might be slightly higher at the surface, but as of right now, it does seem to be more of a gusty wind component with that storm. We are, again, granted, pretty far away from the radar site, but definitely be something to monitor here very closely as these storms, again, continue to move off to the east and northeast. Again, North Platte, be on alert. Get a little bit of hail coming your direction. Frozen Frogs won for its test of the semester. Frozen Frogs. Update, by the way, on the storm in Brown and Rock County. That was the one that had a tornado possible. That has actually now been removed. This storm, excuse me, is now down to 60-mile-per-hour winds. So just an update here. So 60-mile-per-hour winds again from Rose, Hopefield Lake, Raven, Duff, Cy Brant, as well as Jones Lake, Twin Lake State Wildlife Management Area, and Johns Corner and Pony Lake, all again now down to 60-mile-per-hour winds. Again, heading towards Highway 183. Hail potential seems to be dwindling on that storm as well, and the overall intensity of it is definitely falling apart. So that's definitely good news for up that direction, but definitely some heavy rain, maybe even some blinding rains out there along the highway there of 183. Hey, Gene, how you doing? Welcome back. Hey Zero, how you doing? And we're up in Nebraska tonight. Tomorrow's live stream will be up in the Midwest, so tomorrow will be an interesting one. I most likely will be live. I'm almost like 95% sure. I'll give it a 95% chance, but tomorrow will be a big day for sure. All right, cool. Sure. By the way, if you have any photos, videos, anything like that, feel free to send them into my Twitter. Again, the Twitter's linked down in the description below. Again, North Platte's about to get hit by a pretty decent storm here. Again, the hail seems to be going down a little bit, which is good news, but those along Interstate 80 near North Platte, again, make sure that you are, again, staying at least away from windows. If you're driving along the interstate, make sure you're taking it slow out there. We'll definitely see potential for some gusty winds, maybe even winds up to 60, as that, again, tracks out to the northeast. I'm going to take a look real quick and see if we have any photos coming in. Yeah, the storms are definitely rolling into this area, for sure. Getting a few photos. I'm trying to see if I can show anything here, but we have a couple of photos coming out of the North Platte region. Again, the storm back down here to the south is probably our more intense one. Again, it's still producing quarter-sized hail near Wallace, so you can see the hail core here near 25. That will definitely, again, be something to watch for very closely over the next several minutes, as that, again, crosses over 25. So if you're driving along 25, be safe out there. That is definitely a storm to watch, as that, again, tracks out to the east. I'm back over to here. Back up to the storm for now, and we'll go and zoom back in. Again, the hail seems to be going down a little bit, which is good news, but still going to be something to watch. Not many storms left. Yeah, a lot of the storms kind of weakened out. I was going to go live earlier, but I was working on... You probably could guess it. Homework. I'm loaded with homework this year. But yeah, we had some storms that were warned for up to lime-sized hail earlier, so there was actually some pretty crazy storms earlier, but... now it's kind of more of just quarter to half dollar sized hail. Again, we may potentially, again, maybe see a little increase in hail at some point down the road, but that, again, seems to be a pretty low potential as of right now. I'll do this real quick. Yeah, tomorrow night will be a busy night, I think. Again, if you're in the Midwest, just heads up there. Again, I'll have a forecast most likely on that tomorrow morning. Severe weather, I mean, it's probably pretty scattered tomorrow across, again, areas in the Midwest. So, again, Iowa and as well as Minnesota will be the main areas in threat. I might even do a little forecast at the end of the live stream for those that might be curious on that, but I don't know when that will be. Cameron, I will try. The best thing to do, if you have Discord, you can join our Discord server. I'll put the link in the chat. It's going to be posted by Nightbot, but if you join our Discord server, you can join. There's a little tornado warnings chat, and you can turn on notifications and turn on all notifications in that chat, and you'll get all the tornado warnings and stuff like that. Which, I don't know if it wants to post it. If it doesn't post it, I'll go and put the link in chat. All right, there we go, posted. So, yeah, if you have Discord, join our Discord server. There's also a Twitter page called NWS Tornado. The National Weather Service actually has a tornado page. So if there's a tornado warning, they post them on Twitter. So, a couple of ways to do it. Thank you, by the way, Trinity, for subscribing. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's a couple of ways to get tornado warnings. And I actually didn't realize the National Weather Service actually had a tornado page until recently. So, kind of useful for those that, need the warnings and whatnot. Yeah, you too, Cameron. Have a great night. Be stopping by. By the way, severe thunderstorm watch is still ongoing. Kind of mentioned this a few times, but we do have a severe thunderstorm watch ongoing again for northern and central Nebraska. Again, along Interstate 80, it does include Lexington, North Platte, which obviously North Platte's about to be hit by a storm. Broken Bow's included. You have a decent amount of showers and maybe some isolated storms behind you right now that are coming your direction, but they seem to be on the weaker end as of right now. Again, I can't rule out some intensification. Back up here to the north, we have another little cluster of storms that goes into South Dakota near Winter, back down through areas along Highway 183. Again, one severe storm ongoing. Have some strong storms back up there to the north. Beyond that, though, again, we had a lot more severe weather action earlier. Here's kind of a little look at the last few hours. Kind of give you an idea. Again, the watch got issued right around 7:45-ish, I think, or 7:30-ish. So it was about a couple hours ago, or about an hour and a half ago that it got issued. But you kind of see the storms evolve here. We had, again, much more severe storms near Ogallala, along with areas near just southwest of the radar site, west of Highway 83. So the storms are probably on a weakening trend. But from earlier, back near Rosebud, we did have a 75-mile-per-hour wind gust. So we've actually had some pretty decent cells here tonight. This is a storm that actually had a tornado possible earlier, by the way. You can kind of see the evolution there. It was a pretty decent storm. Here's kind of a little slower look at it. So it was an impressive cell for a while. It never really gained rotation a whole lot, and then it kind of moved off to the east, and it's now fizzled out for the most part. So, well, still a severe storm, but One's back down this direction for reference over the last little while. Again, it was a hen egg. This was a lime egg. I can't talk. A lime-sized hailstorm earlier near Madrid around 7:30 or so. And eventually it's kind of weakened out a little bit. Again, that's a storm going towards North Platte as of right now, which is actually probably about to hit North Platte within the next 5 minutes or so. The forecasted track was 8:53. It's probably going to be there in the next 4 minutes. So hail core is coming there again towards North Platte as of right now. Pretty interesting. Hey, FaZe, how you doing? Welcome. I guess I need to get Twitter and or Discord. Discord, I would honestly get Discord over Twitter, but kind of your preference. Hey, Tamara, how you doing? Welcome back. You're doing well. Frozen frogs and lime eggs. That's going to be my new emojis for members. I swear. I've made up 2 things tonight. It was not obviously intentional. I just cannot talk. I'm exhausted? No, I'm not exhausted. Trust me. I'm never exhausted. Only exhausted after I do like 5 hours of straight homework. So that didn't happen today. We do have a new update on the warning for those in, again, North Platte. It's just been updated a little bit condensed now, but it still does, again, include areas like North Platte. Hershey's included, but I'll go ahead and say Hershey, you're not going to see the main hail core. It's moving, again, more towards North Platte, maybe even between the two, which honestly, going in between the two would probably be better, but again, the storm is still producing quarter-sized hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds. The one down here to the south near Wallace is producing those same threats, so it's not going to be a storm to, again, still watch here over the next few minutes. Hershey Kisses, yes. I was thinking the same thing when I first mentioned that city name. Just gotta get hungry for the Hershey chocolate. Expect we'll see much more supercell activity. I don't know. I mean, there's a possibility that does end up kind of happening. I don't think it will affect it significantly, but it will probably start to spur up more systems in the really the continental United States, I'd say, going to probably next week or maybe even to the following week. But next week is going to become a bit more active. We're going to see a bit of a jet stream difference. Let me go and take a look at it real quick. Yeah, that system is eventually there's going to be a little low pressure system that sits off California. Beneficial rain, by the way, coming to California going into early to mid next week. Eventually going into the following week, the GFS model brings a huge trough down into New England that might bring even a little bit of snow. But obviously that is way out, so can't really predict that because the GFS model has been so whack already this year. But the European model, on the other hand, showing pretty similar thing. California likely to see some pretty decent rain going into early next week, and then a big trough over New England, and then potentially a very large positively tilted trough going into potentially the following week. But again, 250 hours out, it's hardly ever accurate. So we'll have to wait and see. Again, big differences it looks like coming. Again, we might start to see our first snow of the year potentially up in the mountainous regions, and we've already seen a little bit of snow back up in Wyoming, but we might see some more snow to come potentially going to the tail end of this month. So interesting to watch. Definitely be an interesting month ahead. Hey Shane, how you doing? Welcome back. Again, if you're just tuning in for the first time, hit the like button. We're 8 likes away from 150, and if you're new here, hit the subscribe button. We're actually pretty close to 17,500 subscribers. If we can hit that tonight, that'd be pretty cool. 53 away. Hit the subscribe button. I would appreciate it. And we're currently in Nebraska tonight. North Platte, again, quarter-sized hail, 60-mile-per-hour winds. Same with Wallace. Again, 60-mile-per-hour winds, quarter-sized hail in that area as well. So we do have, again, a couple of storms here producing some hail. And the other one back up here to the north, that is near Highway 183, producing 60-mile-per-hour winds. This one, again, had a bit of some rotation earlier. Again, that has since fizzled out, but that's, again, moving off to the east. Severe thunderstorm watch does go until 1 a.m. tonight. So severe weather is basically possible over the next 4 to 5 hours. No snow yet. I don't think we'll see a whole lot of snow. I think it's really in the higher elevations. I'm talking like mountainous regions, like the Rocky Mountains potentially. But I do think, again, that threat is probably pretty low. You actually make that a segment in your streams. Tell us where you storm chase during the next outlook. Maybe. It's not a horrible idea. Storm chase, maybe even putting a storm chaser element into it actually might not be a horrible idea. Are you talking about like tomorrow, for example? Because tomorrow I can give you an idea of where you might want to storm chase if you were going to, especially in Iowa. Iowa has a pretty decent area that you could probably storm chase in. I'm going to show you real quick. I'll show you tomorrow. Tomorrow's gonna be an interesting day. Again, for those that are already kind of wondering for tomorrow's severe weather outlook, again, I'll have a forecast tomorrow morning on it. But here's a look at Iowa tomorrow. My main areas that I think that have the best tornado potential in Iowa tomorrow, or even just supercellular development, will probably be in this area here. So basically, I would even maybe expand it a little bit. So those in Des Moines, back near Red Oak, Creston, near Interstate 35, just south of Interstate 80, or even along there, probably the best potential for some supercellular development tomorrow. Can't rule out a little bit further off to the north, but I think that's kind of going to be a little bit of a hot spot tomorrow, at least as of right now. It might change going to tomorrow morning, but I think that's probably our better area. Going into tomorrow in Minnesota, I would go ahead and say this is probably going to be a bit of a hot spot as well. That's pretty far north of Minneapolis, but a couple of spots to watch, I would say, tomorrow. So, again, that's for the tornado potential as well. So, tomorrow will be an interesting day, as I mentioned before. Thanks, y'all. Appreciate it. Thanks, FaZe. Appreciate it. Subscribing. What's the weather for Minnesota tomorrow? Severe weather is possible. Again, forecast for that is coming out tomorrow. Stay tuned. The stream is recommended on YouTube. It typically is. I'm not sure how the whole algorithm works, but as long as I'm getting people to stay safe with these storms, that's all that matters. So. Does happen a bit more often than it obviously used to. I don't understand the whole thing. Sometimes it gets recommended a super large amount and sometimes it doesn't, but I'm glad that people are able to see, you know, severe weather coverage for pretty much free. I mean, you don't pay anything to watch these on YouTube, so yeah. What about Western Iowa? It depends on where you are in Western Iowa. Do you have a specific, like, region? Spicy, that's where our family cabin is. There you go. Scott, I do plan on doing a storm chasing stream at some point. I'm not sure when, but yeah, they pay you a little bit, FaZe, but it's not like an enormous amount. Honestly, people that are members on the YouTube channel and people that donate, those are the things that go a long way for me. So, but obviously, it's by no means required. Hey, SL, how you doing? From the Canadian Rockies, how you doing today? Missouri River. That's a good question. Let me figure. Actually, I have a geography test in my weather class on Tuesday, and I need to figure out, I think I know where the Missouri River is. I'm pretty sure it's along the border, but let me just double check real quick. It is along the border. Okay, I was right. No, I mean, anywhere like along the Missouri River, though, probably not going to see a whole lot, unless you're like extreme southwestern Iowa. I mean, if you're talking about that little green area, but overall, maybe a couple of isolated storms, but they will not be severe. You're kind of on like the western side of the whole system there, so yeah. Funny enough, though, I need to know a few river names. I need to know the Missouri River. I need to know a few. I can't remember all of them, but Missouri River, Mississippi River. There's a few other ones in there. Colorado River or something like that, I think. FaZe, I think it pops up at $5. I made it so it doesn't pop up at $1 because I was getting spammed a bunch of $1 one time. And it just kept flooding the screen. But I still do read every message, so. Thank you, by the way, A, as well as Jake, Timothy, and Andrew for all subscribing. I appreciate it. I think she's testing you. Yes, I'm getting a geography test early. Getting a little geography test early. By the way, North Platte, the storm's about to be actually hitting you. It's actually slowed down a smidge there, so a couple more minutes until that's probably over top of North Platte. Again, quarter-sized hail may be a concern as that continues to move again off to the east. As of right now, I don't think we have any reports coming in from North Platte as of yet. No, we do not. So, be watching that closely. I'm going to take a look at Twitter again and see if we have any photos coming in. I'm going to take a look at North Platte real quick. Okay, quarter-sized hail, 60-mile-per-hour winds. The main concerns. And as of right now, I'm not seeing anything new. A lot of lightning, by the way. There's a video on Twitter. There's a lot of lightning with this storm, so make sure you're staying away from windows and whatnot. Make sure you're indoors. Obviously, it's nighttime. I would assume most people are indoors, but yes, FaZe, you're correct. Thank you, KD Video Productions, for being a 2-month Hurricane Chaser member. Let's get some claps in the chat for KD. I appreciate that a lot, KD. Thank you very much. Get your commitment here to the Max Velocity YouTube channel. Thank you very much. I think you got a new badge now. You got the yellow badge. Is this super wedged environment? No, this is by no means a super wedge environment. We are nowhere near that. Tomorrow, though, on the other hand, I don't think will be, but there's a possibility that we do have a couple of tornadoes, probably on the weaker end, but oh yeah, Scott. Not a whole lot of people chasing Iowa. What super outbreak do you think was worse, 2011 or 1974? I'll go ahead and say 2011 because it impacted, in my opinion, more people. But I think they were both pretty bad. Thanks, Coney. Appreciate it. Or Connie. Appreciate it. We're currently in Nebraska as of right now. We're in Nebraska. North Platte. Again, tomorrow we'll be shifting our focus to the Midwest. Really, Iowa, Minnesota are the hot spots for damaging winds. Again, large hail, potential for a few tornadoes does still exist. Again, tomorrow will be an interesting day, mainly for the evening and potentially early overnight hours. But Sunday will be across areas in the further east of the Midwest, going into like Illinois, southern Wisconsin. Chicago is included in that along with Milwaukee. So that'll be an interesting day as well. Hey, Joy, how you doing? Thank you. Appreciate you subscribing. From Las Vegas, Nevada. There's actually been some storms in Las Vegas recently. Have you seen any of those? There's been a few hailstorms over that direction. And actually, I think there was a tornado somewhere, not in Las Vegas, but it was somewhere along the Nevada border somewhere. I can't remember where, but drought relief, you're totally correct. Yeah, there's definitely going to be some drought relief with these storms, especially back up this direction. For sure. I definitely agree with that. By the way, the warning back up here has expired. I think we're actually, let me drop the warning count. I haven't done that in a while. We're down to 2 or 3. But got 2 right now in North Platte. Again, we do have ongoing 2 severe thunderstorm warnings. Let me drop that down to 2. Main 2 are, again, near North Platte as of right now. So all right, you're getting out of the EF5 drought. It's kind of hard to predict that. Really, obviously, it's very difficult to predict an EF5 tornado happening on any given day, like more than 3 or 4 days out. But it's kind of hard to answer that. I mean, people have been saying like every year, like an EF5 tornado is going to happen this year. An EF5 tornado is going to happen this year. But it just doesn't, people say that because it's like the trend. Like, there's like a history to it. Like every 3 or 4 years, there's going to be an EF5 tornado, which, a lot of the times it doesn't happen because obviously the last like 10 or 11 years we haven't had one. So my opinion though, I mean, it's hard to predict. Regardless of it, I mean, we could see one, we might not see one. It's kind of like saying this year, all these people, and actually it's a funny story. I know somebody that's in the broadcast meteorology sector, actually my professor, and he told me that apparently one meteorologist earlier this year, every meteorologist is saying this is going to be an above average hurricane season. There was one meteorologist that he knows that he said that it's going to be below average, and everybody thought he was crazy. And by the way, so far this year, we've had 6 named storms. Typically by this time we have about 9. So we are still fairly below average as of right now, and I don't think we'll get above average. And I actually mentioned it earlier this year, I think on my Facebook page. I need to find proof of it because I actually did mention earlier this year that we're going to have a below average hurricane season. So far we have. And obviously, if it does end up happening, that'd be pretty crazy. But yeah, first one since I think 2015 or 2014, if I'm not mistaken. So, or 2014 or 2013, one of the 2 years. By the way, new update on the storm near North Platte. We have our hail core that is now definitely still around quarter size there near Interstate 80. That is basically in now downtown North Platte. So, yeah, new update there. Definitely a hail core here. We do have a little bit of hail maybe outside of that, back up here to the north, and a little bit back down here on the tail end. So a couple of areas to watch there along Highway 83. Again, near North Platte is now a pretty decent hail core there of quarter-sized hail. Potentially slightly larger than that in isolated spots. So, might see a little variety there. Go by wind speed measurements, there's definitely been ones. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard to really tell. I mean, I don't know. It's hard to tell. There's a lot of exceptions. Hey, Monty, how you doing? Welcome back. How's everybody doing tonight, by the way? Hope everybody's doing well there in the chat. New update, by the way, on the storm near Wallace. It has been condensed a little bit. No longer includes areas just west of 25. Our main area of damaging winds and hail exists here northeast of Wallace. Again, that's moving off towards Highway 83. Our secondary storm. So, I'll again probably be moving towards Interstate 80 over the next little while. But again, North Platte getting hit by a little bit of quarter-size hail as of right now. Yeah, we'll see, y'all. We'll see. You guys remember the Morton tornado? Anybody really familiar with that one? It was a pretty isolated tornado, as many of you guys know. That was like West Texas earlier this year. That was my first ever stream, by the way, outside of North Texas. As you may know, that was literally my first ever stream that was not nationwide, or that was actually my first stream that was ever like nationwide, quote unquote, was in West Texas. That tornado was large. I don't think that the measurements that they gave were really accurate. I think that tornado was a lot larger than it was, but it's hard to tell. Again, that was in such a rural area. It was in dust and all that, so it's It's kind of hard to measure that, but thanks, Virginia. I hope I do well on it. We'll see. Definitely see. Yeah, that was a crazy tornado. I mean, I remember literally live streaming that. That was one of the more insane tornadoes that I've ever really witnessed. I mean, that was really crazy. And again, that was the largest tornado I think I've ever been live for. Because again, I started doing nationwide live streams beginning in June, technically, so of this year. Hey, Roberts, how you doing? I want to ask you, do you think you'll be live at all this week? I will likely be live tomorrow night and as well as Sunday night for severe weather. Tomorrow night, again, is the Midwest. Sunday is the Midwest as well. So we got 2 Midwest events coming up. I will almost 100% not be live on Monday, regardless of there being severe weather, because I do need to study. So Monday is going to be a busy day for me. By the way, the warning for Lincoln County, this is the one over near North Platte, no longer includes areas kind of in this sector. It was kind of like this area. So Hershey's no longer included in this warning. Again, North Platte is currently seeing most likely some decent hail. Let me go over here and zoom in. A little bit of hail there. Again, that is actually going over North Platte as of right now. Let me go and take a look if we have any reports coming in. And as of right now, we don't have any reports coming in. Let me go over to Twitter. I'm not sure how many people really report on that app that I use, but we'll take a look at Twitter and see. This is the latest update, so a little bit further off to the east. Holy moly. A lot of tweets on the North Platte Twins becoming home king. That's amazing. That's not what I was looking for, though. I guess there's really no reports, though, here on North Platte as of right now. But again, there might be some quarter-sized hail. We definitely have a hail core here for sure. So there's at least some sort of hail, but it's kind of depending on what size it is right now. Thank you, by the way, Michael, for subscribing. I appreciate it. By the way, the highest wind gust that we've had today, for those that are just tuning in, was 75 miles per hour. Our highest hailstone size so far today was at least confirmed at $half sized. We did have storms that were up to lime-sized hail. So, kind of a little update there. By the way, if you're just tuning in for the first time, hit the subscribe button down below. Again, we are only 26 subscribers from 17,500. I would appreciate it. Hit the like button as well. Again, we'll keep you updated with the latest. We're going to be live most likely again tomorrow for the Midwest, for Iowa, Minnesota. I think Western Illinois might be included in that. And again, going into Sunday, we might be live again. That would be Illinois and Wisconsin. So we will keep you updated with the latest. I'm not talking about Hershey, Pennsylvania. No, this is Hershey, Nebraska. There's more than one Hershey. I think there's at least like 5 in the United States, if I'm not mistaken. Do you have any input on why that area had such destructive tornadoes? I do not, Scott. I'm not entirely sure. I've actually never researched that topic. I would not be able to tell you. Maybe if I have a research project next year, I'll do it or do something on it. Michael, you can send me a video on Twitter. Is preferable. Twitter is linked down in the description below. I'll also link it in chat. By the way, if you guys have not already, follow me on TikTok, by the way. I'm trying to get to 1,000 TikTok followers. I don't know if that'll ever happen, but if you do follow me on TikTok, I might be able to start live streaming on TikTok and YouTube at the same time. Pretty sick. And here's the latest radar update, by the way. So still, the hail core is now going to eastern North Platte near Highway 30. That is our area right now that we do have an ongoing hail core. So, and that might be up to quarter size. I'm actually going to take a look at the hail radar here. We haven't looked at that here in a while. Here's the latest hail updates. So as of right now, the latest update was about 5 to 10 minutes ago. That was back near North Platte. We were at least around quarter sized. It does estimate around $half sized hail, though, near Interstate 80. So that's the latest update. A couple of other areas. These red areas, again, representing right around quarter size. The yellows representing between half-inch to dime-sized. Again, we don't have an update yet on the areas that have rolled through North Platte, but we should have that here in about 3 or 4 minutes, so keep you updated there. Storm is still ongoing, moving off to the east and northeast as of right now. What you mean, Paula? Okay, let me go back over to Twitter real quick. So again, I haven't had any reports yet out of North Platte, which I'm kind of surprised. North Platte is a bit more populated, but look at Wallace real quick. Oh my lord. Things you see on Twitter are just horrendous. Don't search up things sometimes. Let's go over to North Platte again. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything as of right now in North Platte. Again, the storm's still ongoing. Severe thunderstorm warning. Again, quarter-sized hail, 60-mile-per-hour winds. I am again surprised we have not had any videos out of there or photos, but... yes, Michael. Send me an email to the email linked in, or it's in the description. It's, I think, DentonCountyWeather@gmail.com. It says it down in the description. HM, I think, sort of. One of them does. He was actually gonna watch on my forecast and give me feedback on it, but he has not yet done that. But beyond that, I don't think so. I think only, or actually, technically, I think 2 other ones do, but they're not in the weather space. Like, they're not, like, teaching weather. So. Thanks, Scott. Appreciate it. Yeah, but I don't really tell, I mean, honestly, I don't tell anybody about my weather page at all. Like, I don't tell any people in school, don't tell anybody in terms of professors, just don't. And really, just because I don't really care to. It's kind of like one of those things, you know? I've told a couple of them, though. I mean, the ones I talk to the most, I do a little bit, but... Back on Twitter real quick. We'll see if we have any storm stuff coming in as of right now. By the way, for those that are wondering about Tropical Storm Fiona as of right now, the rain bands are beginning to become a bit more organized near the Lesser Antilles, so we are starting to see that system organize a bit more. We very well could see that reach up to 60-mile-per-hour sustained winds by tomorrow morning, so it will be something to watch for very closely. I think it's at 50 right now, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it's at 50, so it'll probably increase a little bit tomorrow morning. The convection was pretty far off to the east of the storm. It was getting ripped apart by wind shear. That is now changing a little bit. And again, the hail core is still pretty impressive here, near Highway 30 and as well as Interstate 80. Still a decent amount of hail here. Scott, I don't even know what that is. Hey, Weston, how you doing? I don't need any awards. We're in Nebraska, by the way. I don't need any awards for anything. I think some awards are kind of just overrated. But I don't need an award for doing weather or whatever. I think the amount of streaming hours I've had in terms of weather this year, which has only been since really May, I think I've been around at least 400 or 500 hours total, maybe a little bit higher than that. I've invested a pretty good amount of time into severe weather live streams across the United States. And again, we're a nationwide channel, so if you're just tuning in, hit the subscribe button down below. If you live in the United States, I cover your location in terms of severe weather, and as well as even any weather event really in general, I'll cover stuff. So hit the subscribe button down below. We're only 15 subscribers from 17,500. I would appreciate it. Also like the video. There are 22 likes from 250. I'm going to make up my own award. It's going to be called the Max Velocity Award. Y'all, I recommend Radar Scope or My Radar. I made up the frozen frogs and the lime... What was the lime thing I said? I made up frozen frogs earlier. And I meant to say frozen fog. There was frozen fog at Mount Washington today. I just dropped my pencil. Lime egg. Yeah, there we go. Lime egg-sized hail. It's not a thing, by the way. I don't know where those even came from. I have to write those down. Lime, egg, and frozen frogs. There we go. All right, I got a video sent in. Let me go check it out. Let's take a look. Thank you, by the way, Michael. I appreciate you sending in whatever you sent in. Oh, some hail. Where's that at? Big Springs, Nebraska. Big Springs, Nebraska. Apparently, there was a shop that was completely destroyed there from high winds. In Big Springs, that was like 4 miles south of Big Springs. We had a report there of apparently some damage to a shop from earlier. And that's in like extreme western or southwestern portions of Nebraska. It's kind of like along the Colorado and Nebraska border. So, not surprised that you saw a little bit of hail there. See if I can download the video, but it might take a second. Holy moly, that's loud. Alright, here's a look at the hail. This is over in Big Springs. You can see all the hail here. Opening the door frantically, and look at all the hail. Yeah, that's pretty typical. For at least, I mean, Nebraska does see that a little bit more often than not, but thank you for sending that in. I appreciate it. That's definitely an interesting perspective there. Oh, shoot. I put that in the wrong Oops, I put that in the wrong announcements page. Let me change that. We do have a new severe thunderstorm warning, by the way, for those in North Platte, Maxwell, North Platte Airport, and Keith. That is for 60-mile-per-hour damaging winds and quarter-sized hail. Let me real quickly go over to the METAR data. If the wind gust is updated here. And North Platte at about 8:53, I think that was just slightly before the storm went over there, was 33 miles per hour. So we are definitely seeing at least some wind gusts. I wouldn't say damaging winds, but that's the latest measurement at least. Jameson, I'll have a forecast on that tomorrow. Stay tuned. Tomorrow morning. Bit more of a discussion on that. Hey, Richard, how you doing? Welcome back. Hope you're doing well. I haven't seen you in a while. Hope you're doing well, though. What's your favorite weather phenomenon? I don't know. You know, one thing that's kind of funny is I've seen a lot of rainbows recently. I don't know why, but I've seen a lot of rainbows recently. Kind of one of those things. I've seen a lot of rainbows. A lot of storms, and for whatever reason, see a lot of rainbows along with that, but I wouldn't say it's my favorite, but it's probably one of the more common ones I've seen recently. I don't really know what my favorite one is, though. I think the halos in the sky sometimes are pretty cool. I haven't seen one personally. I've only seen photos of them. I kind of want to see one someday, but yeah. Hey, Ryan, how you doing, by the way? Welcome back. And windy in Louisiana. You know what's funny is my professor also told me a story that apparently a meteorologist down in Louisiana got so bored after, you know, several years of doing Louisiana weather that they just wanted to quit because it apparently just rains every day. I don't think I've really ever been to Louisiana. We have a new hail report, by the way, coming in North Platte, so we do have confirmed quarter-sized hail now. So this is now an observed threat in North Platte. That's pretty close to the airport, by the way. That was the official National Weather Service OBS. So in North Platte, again, we do have a confirmation now of quarter-sized hail. The downtown area, we also have a human report of half-inch sized hail. So just an update there. This is Nebraska, just for reference. But yeah, we're down now to one severe thunderstorm warning, and that is the one east of North Platte. We'll at least keep you updated for the next few minutes. Hey, no problem, Ryan. Hopefully you stay safe. A lot of rain out of these, for sure. A lot of rain. Thank you, Lee, by the way, for subscribing. I appreciate it. Thank you. We are only 7 subscribers from 17,500. Again, if you have not hit the subscribe button, I would appreciate it. Also, hit the like button. 8 likes away from 250. Appreciate the support. True, we're in Nebraska. I think I already said that, but the wavy clouds. Oh, the wavy clouds are really cool too. That's clear air turbulence. I think if that's what you're talking about, clear air. Not clear air turbulence. It's something along the lines of that. I learned this in aviation weather. It's not clear air turbulence. Oh, actually, it is. I don't know if I can show the photo. But I'll post it in Discord. If you're on Discord, I'll post it. I think I'll put it on Discord real quick. If you're on a Discord server, I'll do !Discord in here. Oh, I forgot Rye's on his driving. I-30 is a boring drive. All right, the photo's on the general chat. That's what I'm talking about. The wavy clouds. That's clear air turbulence, I'm pretty sure. Thanks, Tim. I appreciate it. Thanks, Scott. Appreciate it. Nothing's happening in Georgia. Nothing's happening in Georgia. Yeah, Georgia's pretty quiet. Occasional storm activity, but nothing too crazy. Microbursts. Microbursts are kind of interesting, cool. Or interesting too, excuse me. Yeah, I would have to say clear air turbulence is probably one of the more interesting things. It does affect pilots, by the way. Turbulence obviously means it's going to affect pilots, but yeah, it's one of those things I learned in aviation weather, which I never thought would actually be an important or useful class to me, but apparently it actually sort of is. I learned a lot about weather soundings in there and what certain things mean on those, which was very useful. Along with some of the turbulences. I mean, certain clouds, icing, rime ice, you know, that sort of thing. There's some interesting things that you actually learn in there. which I was shocked to even still know today, to be honest. Pretty shocked. But yeah, this storm does seem to be weakening, as I mentioned before, so I'll be live for at least another few minutes. But if you have any general questions, feel free to let me know in chat. And if you're just tuning in for the first time, we're 3 subscribers. We're only 3 away. Hit the subscribe button down below. It's the red button. 3 away from 17,500. I would appreciate it. Our only goal for tonight. Otherwise, that's pretty much it. That's crazy, Sabish. I've never heard of that. Crazy. Yeah, there's some pretty crazy storms, and actually, we do have a new special weather statement, by the way, for South and North Platte. That would include areas like Wellfleet, Curtis are included for potential for gusty winds up to 55 miles per hour and nickel-sized hail. So just another new report there. Again, we do have a severe thunderstorm watch that does go until 1 a.m. So we technically could see some more severe weather. And if we are to see any more tonight, it is almost more likely than not going to happen in the southern end of that watch. That'd be for Broken Bow, Ord, Ravenna, even maybe Lexington. I can't really rule out Kearney and maybe even Grand Island later on. But again, that goes until 1 a.m. Storms are probably going to be at least a couple hours away from you anyways. But something to watch if you're along Interstate 80, along that stretch. Again, Interstate 80 is a bit more populated anyways here in Nebraska. So that's crazy, Jeanette. That's crazy. Hey, stay safe, Richard. Appreciate you tuning in. Have a great rest of your night. Let me go back over to Twitter, or not Twitter. Yeah, let's go back over to Twitter real quick. I'm just gonna see if one last time if we have any photos coming in, but actually, Tyler is one of the people that I might actually have for storm chasing going into this upcoming severe weather season. If I have enough support on the YouTube channel, I do plan on getting a storm chaser for weather live streams. It costs a lot, so obviously I would need, you know, more viewers than I already have for that sort of thing, and obviously more members and whatnot. But I do plan on getting a storm chaser going into this upcoming spring, so stay tuned for that. And again, if you're already a member, it goes a long way, so I appreciate it. But I do plan on bringing along a storm chaser going into next spring. And I do plan on going live almost every day next spring as well. So I will be definitely going live a lot next year. I honestly almost plan to go live just about every day. So a lot of live streams to come. So stay tuned. It will be active next year. It will definitely be active. I might go for a record on live streaming days in a row for weather. Because I am almost guaranteeing you I'll be live almost every day in May. So it will be an interesting year to say the least. Other than that, I'll keep you updated. See if we have any photos coming out of Maxwell. I don't think we do. And as of right now, no new reports there. Again, just south of Maxwell and kind of in Maxwell, we do have a special weather statement here. That's along Highway 83. That's for, again, gusty winds up to 55. Again, a little hail course still ongoing here, again, east of North Platte. That's going to be going into rural areas, so I don't expect that to be much of an impact beyond this, but thought about multi-streaming on different platforms. I have. I really want to multi-stream on both TikTok and YouTube at the same time. Honestly, other than that, I don't really want to multi-stream. I just don't have enough followers for TikTok. That's the only problem. I need like 1,000, and I'm not anywhere close to that, unfortunately. But my hope is that if I'm able to get to 1,000 before next spring, which is kind of my hope at this point, but I don't know if I'll be able to. I really do want to be able to get to that threshold so I can start live streaming over on TikTok, but see what happens. Because TikTok actually is a pretty big platform that I could probably do pretty well on live streaming wise. How's that going to flow with classes? Well, May I don't have classes. March and April, we'll see what happens. Not sure yet. I don't think my class load will be as bad as this semester. I'm not gonna lie. I think this semester is easily the hardest one I'll have. Hopefully. I'm hopeful. Thank you, by the way, Gary and Aaron, for subscribing. I appreciate it, guys. Welcome. And we are officially 1 subscriber away from 17,500. Yeah, 1 more subscriber. That's the only goal for tonight. I would appreciate if you hit the subscribe button. Make sure to take some time for yourself. Now, there's no time during severe weather season, trust me. I mean, I went days on end live streaming this past summer with even just slight risks of severe weather. And it was pretty, you know, it was honestly really, I enjoy myself. I always enjoy myself doing these live streams. I'm glad I'm able to help people more than anything. So honestly, going into this upcoming spring, I honestly still plan to do daily live streams. I won't take many breaks. I actually purposely am not planning any trips of any kind from like March to June. So this year was a different story. Obviously, I never planned to go nationwide, so I had a few trips lined up in like June and July that were just catching up from COVID and stuff like that. So, but I do plan on taking a pretty decent amount of time there, just, you know, making sure I can go live and whatnot. Because again, it will be a very busy next spring for sure. Hailcore now is just north of Highway 30, so a couple of areas near Maxwell being impacted. After that, it is in rural areas. So once that happens, we'll probably end the live stream, but that's going to be a couple more minutes probably, at least until it's out of there. Hey, Susan, how you doing? Welcome back. Hey, Sean, how you doing? Welcome. I see the picture on Discord. Are you Leezy? Oh, those are pretty cool. Yeah, those are definitely pretty cool. I've never seen those before. Interesting. I know that was a thing, to be honest. Thank you, Weatherman, as well as Amira for subscribing as well. I appreciate it. We officially hit 17,500 subscribers. I appreciate everybody subscribing tonight. Thank you very much. Another milestone. We're basically 3/4 of the way there to 20,000. Which is crazy. We're currently in Nebraska. Sorry. Yeah, we're like east of North Platte. And really overall, storm activities, really, there's a lot of rain out there, but a lot of these storms will likely weaken over the next hour or two. Might see a little bit of isolated severe weather. Again, severe thunderstorm watch does go until 1 a.m., but this is basically our last severe storm as of right now. So definitely seeing a bit of a wind down as of right now in storm activity, which is good news. This storm's still packing some hail there near Maxwell as of right now, so keep in mind for those over here near Interstate 80. And any truck drivers as well. Just make sure you're aware of that. Again, we might see some gusty winds there along the highways. Back over to Twitter real quick. See if you have any new updates there. I don't think we have any, so that's good. So yeah, as of right now, again, our only report out of this storm, as of recently at least, was quarter-sized hail. The most, or the highest hailstone size that we've had was $half sized hail. That was back near Grant, I think it was. It was somewhere near Grant or Elsley. We did have a $half sized hail report. That was with this storm. It's kind of gone from east to northeast. It took a bit of a turn. But overall, the storm down here to the south is now just strong. So at this point, I think this actually might be our last severe thunderstorm warning of the night. Definitely possible. Unless our storms start to increase again, but. Hey, you too, Virginia. Appreciate you tuning in. Might see you again tomorrow. We'll see. Yeah, if I go live tomorrow, it'll be an interesting night to say the least. Tomorrow will be busy. Remember that massive inflow notch, I believe? Yes, I do remember that. I wonder if I still have a photo of that. I probably do. Do you remember what day that was? Go and take a look real quick. Sounds good, Virginia. Appreciate it. Where for tomorrow, it's going to be the Midwest and the, basically Midwest. So Iowa, Minnesota are our main areas tomorrow. Be busy tomorrow. Only question is, does anybody remember what day that was that happened? That was insane, that inflow. And I have a picture of it, so I just need to figure out what day it was. I think I might be going too far back here. Going way too far back. Let me go back up a little bit. I have a lot of photos on my, whatever you call this computer. A lot of storm photos too, a lot of things, but I have way too much stuff on here for sure. Yeah, that was one of the more crazy things I've ever seen on radar. One of the craziest storms, but I just don't remember the day. Oh, no, I have a photo. Oh, I found it. I don't know where the original photo is, but I do have a photo at least of the storm. I have a live stream photo. Here's what it looked like. This was a massive inflow. This is up in North Dakota. I don't remember, though, if I have an actual photo from beyond that. An actual raw photo. I think I have a couple of them, but they're somewhere on my computer that I just don't know where. But yeah, that was a crazy storm that I covered that one day. One of the crazier ones I've ever covered. Sounds good, Scott. I appreciate it. Yeah, that was for sure that was honestly the craziest inflow I've ever seen into a storm. That was originally not tornado warned. Ended up getting tornado warned later on, but that was for sure a very interesting day. Yeah. Anyways, and here's a look at tomorrow, by the way. For those that are wondering, this is for tomorrow. I do plan on going live tomorrow. Again, 95% chance, 5% I don't. But we do have, again, slight risk back up in central Minnesota. We also have another one back through Iowa. And again, my main areas of concern are really in this area back up here, so pretty far north of St. Cloud and Minneapolis. And then another hot spot that's probably going to be down here southwest of Des Moines. Again, bearing anything that might change, but we'll see what happens. Again, those are my two main areas of concern. Outside of there, we do have marginal threat going back down through Kansas. So that'll be something to watch for as well. Hey, thanks. I appreciate that. Have a great rest of your night. Let me back over to day 3, by the way. Yeah, and this is day 3, by the way. So Sunday, this probably will be updated to maybe a slightly larger slight risk. We can see there's a slight risk for southeastern Iowa, western Illinois, northeastern Missouri, marginal threat for those in Milwaukee, Chicago. Again, large portion of Illinois, Missouri, as well as areas like Illinois and whatnot. And Iowa, southern Wisconsin. All those areas, again, for the potential for some severe weather tomorrow. So we'll have to watch that again pretty closely. But as of right now, as I mentioned before, got to get through tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be an interesting day. I think Sunday, though, will also be interesting. I think Sunday is more of a damaging wind threat. But we might see all modes of severe weather tomorrow. So I'll have to watch that closely. Thank you, Tim, by the way, for the $10 super chat. I appreciate that a lot, Tim. Thank you very much. Appreciate your support. From Jacksonville, Florida. Nice. Thank you very much, though. Appreciate your generosity. I think that Minnesota storm will sneak into Wisconsin. Are you talking about the storms tomorrow night? Is that what you're mentioning? Been a ton of rain in this cell? Yeah, there's a lot of heavy rain with this for sure. There's a lot of heavy rain. There's actually a lot of heavy rain with almost every storm, though, embedded in basically Nebraska right now. There will be some storms tomorrow morning in western Wisconsin. The overnight hours, there might be some more storms, but none of them are expected to be severe. What makes tomorrow more dangerous than Sunday? It's more of just the setup that we have. Tomorrow has a better low-level jet. We have a bit more of an organized system. Sunday, it falls apart a little bit. If I can, I'll go in more detail about what I'm talking about tomorrow. But we'll see what happens. Because I will, again, probably have a forecast tomorrow morning on it. Saturday, Theodore. I would say tomorrow is going to be more interesting. If you're talking about how much severe weather we might see, it's definitely going to be tomorrow, I would say. Sunday, unless something dramatically changes in the next 24 hours, I do think tomorrow is a bigger day. Sunday is more of a damaging wind threat, though. But again, I'll have a bit more of a detailed outlook tomorrow morning. Thanks, Scott. I appreciate that a lot. East Coast and also Alaska currently. Yeah, those are two areas to watch. I mean, Alaska, as you may have already heard, when was it? Was it earlier today, I think it was? Or even right now, I think there's been some significant storm surge and, flooding and whatnot, and all these damaging winds from that typhoon. So yeah, that's been pretty crazy. And along, not just with that, but we also have that ongoing system right now in the Atlantic Ocean, Tropical Storm Fiona. So I have to watch that one pretty closely. Again, that's the storm that I was covering earlier in this morning's forecast. And I do think that one could have the potential to become something very, very strong. But obviously, it hitting the East Coast or really impacting the United States in a major way, it seems to be more unlikely now, which is very good news. In comparison to this morning, where there's a lot more uncertainty, it seems like we're starting to get a bit more certainty now. But obviously, a lot of things can still change. I mean, there's still a lot of shear out there. Not nearly as much as before, but we do still have some shear, dry air, mountainous regions. Lots of things could really change in the next 72 hours still, especially as it slows down, but we'll watch it closely. How about Houston, Texas? Nothing really expected for you in the next 7 to 14 days, really anywhere in Texas. It's going to be a pretty dry pattern, unfortunately. So, yeah, next 7 to 14 days, definitely going to be a dry pattern. Hey, Andrew, how you doing? Welcome back. Back to cool off, but it's also going to be stay dry. I got you, Rice. Hey, you too, Scott. Appreciate you tuning in. Have a great rest of your night. Nice little rain last night. Where at? Texas? There was some storms actually in West Texas. I don't know if they really reached North Texas at all, but... How about Michigan? In terms of severe weather, there's nothing expected as of now. Really, the only area that you might get isolated severe storm in, which is like extremely isolated, might be extreme western Michigan, but threat seems very low, and that'd be for Sunday. Monday may have something, but I think it's still a very low chance. And really, anytime next week seems to be pretty low right now. So, I'm thinking at least as of right now. Oh, Kansas. For some reason, I thought you lived in Texas. I don't know why. So, Kansas had some storms. Interesting. Yeah, there were some decent storms in Kansas last night. I was thinking about going live for it, but I was, again, pretty busy. So, yeah, last night was definitely interesting. We had some pretty decent storms last night for sure. There you go, Bouncer. Yeah, I don't think Pennsylvania will see anything too crazy over the next few days. I think it'll be all right. It'll definitely be interesting, to say the least. We'll definitely see some interesting weather again tomorrow across the Midwest. So, I think a big live stream is coming tomorrow. Thank you, Donna, by the way, for subscribing. I appreciate it. The Dustnado near Amarillo? Oh, was that yesterday? I think I saw a video on that. Or a photo of some sort. Yeah, apparently there was a Dustnado yesterday near Amarillo. So, yesterday was an active day, too. It was definitely active. I was going to go live yesterday. I was kind of hoping to, but I was busy. But again, tomorrow's going to be a big day. Most likely will be live tomorrow. Sunday, again, I'll probably be live. So again, make sure to hit the subscribe button, turn on post notifications. A couple of big days there across the Midwest. Definitely coming up pretty soon. Little thunderhead off to the south. Take a look real quick. Might as well. One severe storm that we have is, again, kind of weakening right now. Hail is definitely starting to minimalize a little bit. One storm. There's literally just one storm right now in Kansas right now near Arlington. Just one. A single one here in Kansas. That's quite funny. Just one. I mean, literally look at the entire state. There's no rain other than that one little storm. Near Highway 50 near Hutchinson. That's funny. It's the one. That's actually hilarious. You know, there's just one storm in this big state, by the way. I'm kind of surprised. What's the evolution of this? I actually am curious. It's just been one cell for like the last hour or two? Really? Oh, it was actually a strong storm before. Yeah, look at all of Kansas. That one little cell there. How it's lived that long and being just one cell is kind of crazy to me. You have one other cell there from earlier near Liberal, but other than that, that's actually quite funny. That is funny. You're Pratt. That long-lived one cell. That's funny. And and with that, that's how we're gonna end it off tonight. I appreciate everybody tuning in as always. Make sure to hit the like button, by the way, before you exit. I would appreciate it. Hit the subscribe button if you're new here. Again, we are going to be live most likely tomorrow covering the Midwest, along with going into Sunday. 2 big days ahead. Most likely we'll be live for both of them, so hit the like button, subscribe, turn on post notifications with clicking the bell icon down below, and you'll get notified when I go live for these big events. So, again, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe. I would appreciate it. Make sure to join our Discord server as well. That will be linked in the chat. From Nightbot, along with our Twitter page. That will also be linked in the chat if you want to go follow us on Twitter. Follow me on TikTok, by the way. The link's pinned in the chat. And also join our Discord server to talk to me off stream if you'd like. I appreciate everybody tuning in. And as always, have a great, safe rest of your night. I appreciate everybody tuning in as always. And have a good night. We'll see you all again soon. And I can't find the end button. There we go.